The Supreme Court will pass an interim order on in regard to the Waqf issue. This is their petitions that have been filed against the Waqf law. Now, the court has said that it is willing to stay certain provisions of the Waqf law. It will be dictating an interim order today. The Chief Justice of India said that it was genuinely concerned over the provision that Waqf by user, and even has gone on to say that we have been told that the Delhi High Court has also been built on a Waqf land. Not all Waqf by users are wrong, but there is genuine concern here. The Supreme Court has proposed an order that these are the properties declared as Waqf, including the Waqf by user, won't de-notify. They will not be de-notified, but the centre opposed the suggestion and sought a hearing before such a directive. The top court also asked the centre if Muslims would be allowed to be part of Hindu religious trusts. We have Nupur joining us. Nupur, take us through what really went on in court yesterday, and of course this is going to continue today as well.
Well, yes, in a very big development yesterday, the Supreme Court said that as an exception, it is willing to pass an interim stay that would be a partial stay to the newly amended Waqf Act. Now, these three provisions that the Supreme Court has raised contentions about is the first is the Waqf by user properties. Waqf by user properties, the Supreme Court said, it can create a chaos as there are many property that dates back to 100 and 200 years, and CGI's Sanjiv Khanna said that you cannot just go back 200 years and rewrite the past. The Supreme Court said that it is willing to stay this Waqf by user provision of this newly amended act, whereby the centre has said that only the registered properties will remain Waqf properties, but those properties that are not registers, don't have proper paperwork, will not be considered registered if they are claimed to be government land. And secondly, the Supreme Court said that the powers vested in the collectors with regards to the dispute arising out of these Waqf by user properties or the Waqf properties, when it comes to the powers of the collector, the Supreme Court is willing to stay that provision also, because the court said that if there is a dispute, then the collector can approach the court because courts will decide. It's not the collector. The Muslim parties, the opposition parties who have challenged this act have in fact questioned that how will collector go against the government as he is an employee of the government itself. So in case of a dispute between government and Waqf, the government is likely to benefit from this particular provision. Third provision that the Supreme Court is willing to stay today, has proposed to stay today, is the provision whereby two non-Muslim members were allowed to be part of the Waqf Council and Waqf Board. The Supreme Court said that it will only allow the two ex officio members to be non-Muslim, but there cannot be other members of the Waqf Board or the Waqf Council who can be Muslim, as opposed to the newly amended act, as the newly amended act has proposed. Now, today it will be very important to see that if the Supreme Court goes ahead and passes this interim order and what else it is willing to stay, because yesterday it had made up its mind, and in fact it had went on to dictate the order, but it stopped midway after Solicitor General Tushar Mehta requested that the centre's argument should be heard a bit more tomorrow. So today at 2 p.m. the centre will be presenting more arguments in front of the Supreme Court, and it will be important to see if centre is able to convince the Supreme Court to not pass such an interim stay.